South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that. And
Kagame do mutuna yo ana tokozwa yango to mema na Kongo. Do biso to kufa te, do yo ndo kufa. Ngai table no.
Of course, to my amazing people, my name is Edgo Dhiambo, a freelance journalist from Nairobi, Kenya. Tensions between South Africa and Rwanda have escalated dramatically, with Pretoria issuing a stern warning to Kigali over its alleged involvement in the Democratic Republic of Congo DRC conflict. The growing hostilities stems from Rwanda's reported support for the M23 rebel group, which has been engaged in intense clashes with the Congolese forces. The crisis in East Democratic Republic of Congo is not new, but recent developments have drawn in a regional power, further complicating an already fragile situation. The M23 rebel, long accused of receiving support from Rwanda, have made a significant territorial gain in northern Kivu province, forcing thousands to flee their homes. The Congolese government, backed by South African troops deployed as part of the South African Development Community SADC mission, has battled to contain the rebels. Reports suggest that Rwanda-backed M23 forces have directly targeted South Africa's military positions, escalating the situations beyond a local conflict. In response, South African Defense Minister Thandi Modise issued a chilling warning: any further attacks on its forces would be considered as a declaration of war.
So on a daily basis, we've been meeting. On a 2-hourly basis, we get updates and reports of what is happening. But we also, as I say, we have also UNESCO forces which are under UNESCO. So under the SADC forces, we've been meeting as the Troika. We met the other night, but the general posture that we are taking as a summit DRC is to force the parties to go into a peaceful negotiation. Because our sense is that war is not going to be won through arms. It can be only won if people sit down and negotiate. So we have called for a ceasefire. I can assure South Africans that our camps have not been attacked for the past 48 hours because, unfortunately for us, when we were at Goma, your DRC forces were fighting Rwandan forces over our heads. That's where we lost the 3 people. So we had to quickly communicate with M23 to say, we're not part of the battle, so don't fight over our heads. And indeed, that's why then we agreed with them that we'll host a white flag to say, we're not part of the battle, we don't want to be dragged into it. But also, M23 needed a free passage to go to Sagi, to go and collect and retrieve their deceased people. So then we agreed on a ceasefire whereby they will get a free trade, a free passage. We will not fire at their movement because if they move, we are not sure which direction. So there was a clear ceasefire which was agreed by the generals from M23, but also by our generals. So that process has happened. Even now, as I say, there's never been any attack since the ceasefire that we requested or we instructed from M23. The latest information that I got around 1 o'clock said there's intense fighting in Goma between your M23 and your DRC forces, and the place is completely tense and the difficulties. So that's why we're communicating after every 2 hours to check what the situation is, and that's where we are. But
Ghana has been a key player in regional peacekeeping efforts, deploying troops to various conflict zones across Africa, including Mozambique and the Central African Republic, However, its engagement in the DRC is proving to be one of its most challenging missions. The decision to send the troop to DRC was part of the broader SADC interventions aimed at stabilizing the volatile region. South African soldiers have been stationed in key areas to prevent M23's advance, but the recent attack have raised concern that the countries could be dragged into a larger war with Rwanda.
South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess. So then you have the whole international community just confused. They talked about Rwanda, they talked about the Nairobi process. Honestly, even here, maybe you will help me understand what all this means. The processes became an end in themselves. And the people leading these processes became more important than the results of the processes. The Nairobi process became a Uhuru process. Then the Rwanda process, it's like you can't say anything that will displease President Lorenzo. Definitely, this does not help deal with such a serious matters as we are faced with today. That in the end, just because they can't be addressed, we have such a situation like we have now. And if anybody, and above all, I don't understand how Tshisekedi keeps thinking that he will.
The diplomatic consequences of these military escalations are severe. Relations between South Africa and Rwanda have been strained since the 2014 assassination of former Rwandan intelligence chief Patrick Karegeya in Johannesburg, an incident widely blamed on Rwanda's government. While both countries have attempted to mend ties in recent years, the latest development risks undergoing any progress. Rwandan President Paul Kagame has denied supporting M23, dismissing the accusations as Western-backed propaganda. He insisted that Rwanda's actions in the regions are purely defensive, aimed at countering threats from the Democratic Forces for the Liberations of Rwanda, a militant with a link to the 1994 Rwandan's genocide perpetrators. The situations present a dangerous turning point for regional security. If South Africa escalates its response and retaliates militarily, it could trigger a broader regional war involving Rwanda, DRC, and potentially other neighboring countries. The African Union, AU, and international partners have urged both sides to engage in a diplomacy to prevent further bloodsheds. However, with the South African troops already on the ground and casualties mounting, Pretoria faces a difficult decisions: either withdraw and risk appearing weak, or engage in fully scaled military retaliations which could have devastating consequences for regional stability. For now, the world watches as tensions simmer, hoping that diplomacy prevails before war becomes inevitable. This conflict raises a crucial question: should African nations prioritize military interventions or diplomatic resolutions in such crises? Let's continue with the conversations at the comments section. I goes by the name Edgar Odhiambo, a freelance journalist from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you for always tuning in. Make sure to subscribe for this amazing YouTube channel for more updates.